everyone. Oh, that was abrupt. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Redmen Originals Podcast, the unofficial podcast of the 20 times champions of England Liverpool Football Club. I am Paul Machin, Chris Pajak, Chloe Bloxham, and Dan Clubb join me. Just take an opportunity, everyone, to remind yourselves that Liverpool are champions, because it just makes me feel so good inside just to go through it one more time and then another one more time and another one more time. We've got loads to discuss. We will do a bit on the game even. Boo, I know. Definitely some talking points though, and obviously we will talk about the Trent Alexander-Arnold thing because that's probably the biggest thing that happened over this bank holiday weekend. Nice of him to drop that on our day off. Did not enamour him any further to us, that one, no.
Worst thing he did, to be honest with you.
But yeah, before we get into that, I just want to draw attention to the fact that we are now a handful of weeks away from the Red Weekender, the biggest party this city has ever seen. That's going to see not just us on stage doing our normal funny shenanigans, but also great music, meet and greets with Liverpool legends. And then we've got Kenny Dalglish, man. We've got the king going on stages, and we can now officially confirm that Kelly Cates is going to be there as well. So the soon-to-be host of Match of the Day, the best anchor on Sky Sport by an absolute mile. So Kenny and his family are going to be on stage with Les Dennis and us doing a Family Fortune style show, as well as all that boss music. Two tons, just. But yeah, we know Liverpool are champions. We know it's going to be the biggest thing going, so make sure you grab your tickets. Go to the redweekender.com. If you go to the redweekender.com, if you watch on YouTube, it'll look a little bit like this. So you'll see that, and then there's a little button in the top corner that says tickets, and you'll click on that, and then you'll go through, and then we're the Saturday, so it's a daytime event as well. So actually you can still plan to do other bits and pieces as well. So 2 till 7. It's a plus 14 event, so 14-year-olds can attend with a parent or guardian in tow, or a responsible adult of some description. But yeah, come and have an
irresponsible adult, I think.
I'm not sure.
18, I think it's fine.
I think it says that on the T's and C's.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure legally we're allowed to say that. But yeah. Obviously, yeah, it is a 14 plus event when accompanied by an adult, which means you can bring some younger Reds along with you and indulge in all the wonderfulness that we've got planned for you guys. But do be quick on that, because the tickets are selling quick, because people are very much now full bore committing to their pre-parade weekend plans. So make us part of those plans if you would, and I promise you will have the absolute time of your life. Okay, so also we've got a code if you want some more free content from us on redmenplus.com. If you go over and use the code champions, you get an entire month free. So it's going to take you all the way now to the end of the season and beyond, where Liverpool, obviously already crowned champions, are just going to get to celebrate it. We're going to get to wallow in it like a hippo in a big mud hole, and how much they love them. Don't they? Love a mud hole.
Here's the code for you. Put it on my shirt so it's easy for you to remember.
Yeah, absolutely. And do check out the boss merch on redmenmerch.com. But more importantly, grab your tickets for Red Weekender, because you don't. FOMO's a thing. Don't do it to yourself. Just get your tickets sorted. Okay. Right. I'm wondering whether there was a little bit of FOMO between some people on this desk from the weekend. Chloe certainly didn't have it.
I definitely did have it.
Chris definitely had it. Chloe, it looked like the people who were in the away end at Chelsea had the absolute best day.
Yeah, we did not give one single shit about what happened on the actual football pitch. We just absolutely loved every moment of it. We got in early. They started playing One Kiss. They played some bangers for us. They really did. And then obviously we got to see our lads be, given a guard of honour as they walked out. And it just continued to bounce. We went through all different songs. A new Slot song went off. A new Conor Bradley song went off on the coach's home as well. So, it was a little bit strange seeing, people online because we were bouncing out the ground and obviously people are really, affected by the result. Whereas, we totally forgot that there was a game being played and we just bounced. I mean, to sum it up, we lost 3-1 to Chelsea, who we absolutely hate, and Ibu Konate was bouncing over to our away end at full-time dancing, and I don't know what else I have to tell you. Costas was on Robbo's back, Verge was having a lovely time, and Chiesa's song, my God, Get It Going, I absolutely love it.
It just looked like, as I watched it on the telly, and it was just those moments where the game wasn't going Liverpool's way, and you could hear Chelsea fans trying to rile them up, like the Gerrard Demba Ba song or whatever, and a few of the bits and pieces, and then the camera you just catch a glimpse of these holding up like 20 balloons and all dancing and singing like, we're losing here. You would normally be dead pissed off, but yeah, it just felt like every time they tried to take the piss, you just went, yeah, and what?
Yeah, and we did do that. I mean, it caught me out a little bit how early we sang. Obviously, you've got no history to them. And at first, it took me a couple of times to get used to, it's 20. It's not 19.
Chloe,
it's 20.
I'm still singing 5 times.
Yeah, exactly. So it was lovely for that. They also played, obviously, their little tune that they play when coming out. And I enjoyed saying F off Chelsea, champions to the song. That was belter. And like you said, everyone just had the boss time. I mean, they got a penalty and we were just laughing. Like, we were genuinely laughing in the stands. They scored the penalty and you can hear a second of them celebrating and then it instantly goes silent again, and you can still hear us singing the slot song that we were singing before Cole Palmer stepped up, and they had to drown us out with music at full time because that slot song went on for about 5 to 6 minutes towards the end of the game, into the lads coming over to the away end. But yeah, it just, no one was bothered really. Everyone was there for a good time. I mean, Alisson Becker swiping out Nicholas Jackson was hysterical, and all of us were like, could have been UFC that, but like absolutely hilarious that it's happened. We had a lovely time.
On the, I want to say flip side, Chris.
I think flip sides are fair.
It didn't strike me as being quite as pleasant an experience with like the away end YouTube comments.
No, I don't think so. The away end YouTube section was a fucking shit show, to be quite honest with you, Paul. People questioning the work ethic of the players, people questioning us for not giving a shit because it's about standards, Chris, and not letting them slip and all this type of stuff. And it was just draining, to be honest with you, to the point where we walked out and Dan was sat there doing socials, and I don't think you had a clue what it was like.
Unaware. Blissfully unaware, mate.
Blissfully unaware of being in, went, good fucking luck with that, like. And then he was like, fucking hell, what's going on here? It was like, I don't know, some people just consume football in a different way. For me, the season was over. Done. Dusted, and I thought it would be quite amusing to lose the rest of the games. I don't really want Liverpool to lose games, but it doesn't matter ultimately. It's just about, do you win the league? Yes. All right, Ant, let's move on to next season. Let's have a party for the next few weeks. Apparently that's not the same in YouTube comment sections.
It was just fun that no matter what happened in the game, after every response of anything at all, it was just champions. And it's like, go on, try and do. Enzo Fernandez celebrated and did some weird thing in front of us, and we just started saying that we were champions to him. Lavia came off and we were singing him, you could have signed for the champion. Like, we were just having fun and in our element. And I obviously didn't know what had happened in the YouTube comments, but it was hysterical, the contrast between the photo you sent in for the thumbnail and me just putting, we've got contrast animations, because you looked impressed and I'm bouncing out the ground after a 3-1 win, smiling. But if you go and watch the video, like, people are just bouncing as we're walking out the ground, just having a boss time. And it's obviously different because, like, that's the first away we've been able to go to where we've been able to say we're champions and fully celebrate it. So yeah, absolutely nobody was ruining our weekend. And to sum it up, half of the people were on the concourse for the majority of the time, drinking and singing. Like, it was only towards the end of the game where everyone came out again and started singing the slot song and that. But like half time, people were in there from like the 35th minute to like the 60th minute just bouncing because it just wouldn't stop.
That's just, yeah. Go on, Dan, how was once you got into the comments, was it all right?
Yeah, I understood where Chris was coming from. Something like that. I went through the ringer for about an hour post-match, I must admit. It was bleak. It was properly bleak. And Listen, I'm often the one to bang the drum about the fact that he's a professional, to take pride in their performance and all that sort of stuff, because I'm very much on board with that, generally speaking. But
when it matters, though, Dan.
Yeah, mostly when it matters, yeah. And I think it's easy. And listen, all the preparation, I think I said this post-match when I was receiving a barrage of abuse, all the preparation building up to the game in the week and even on the day for those players would have been exactly the same as it has been all season. But that's fine. But then when you step out onto the pitch, when you cross that white line, you just lose that little bit of an edge. You lose that 1 or 2%, and that's all it takes, especially against a team like Chelsea that have quality and they've got something to play for. Like, you're not winning that game of football 9 times out of 10, and that's how obviously it panned out. But I had enjoyed the match. I was so chill. I've never been more chill in my life. Like, honestly, it was so pleasant to have that release-free, pressure-free football. Was just joyous. Post-match, less so.
I was solely looking forward to seeing the Guard of Honour, and I fell asleep on the couch and missed the Guard of Honour at the start and got woken up by them scoring. I went, and then I was like, genuinely, I was like, God. Yeah. I've never watched a game of football that Liverpool have played in that I've cared. I've watched like pre-season games with more level of interest and intrigue than that in that regard. It honestly,
there was a point where I nearly went upstairs, and had we had ink, I would have printed this off because I was going to bring it down for the board. So it was going to say Boss, Sound, and Champions Who's Asked.
Literally,
because you could have put them all in Champions Who's Asked at the end of that game.
So much easier had you done that, by the way. So, but it was pre-season, -4, if you like, wasn't it? If ahead of next year, that's literally where we're at now.
Also, I've never seen a group of fans so less arse that we scored a goal. I've never seen Virgil less arse that we've scored a goal. Virg was 2-1 down and smiling. He was having a lovely time. All the way, usually you hear go on, let's go back. We can obviously get something out the game. Like, we scored and everyone was like, that was boss. Anyway, Chiesa. Let's go Chiesa again. Let's go Chiesa. And Chiesa was loving it. Chiesa was right in front of me for his song, and he was bouncing to it. Ibu was bouncing to it. Yeah, no one was bothered that a game of football was happening because we were just having a party, and the game of football was like a little side interest that you kind of look at every so often, literally checking the score, and then going, and going back to what you were
It's
doing.
like me going to the races. I know nothing about the horses or what they are or anything. I'm just going because everyone's going and we're having
For the experience.
That's it. And that's what the away end was like.
Yeah. Did you think maybe, this is the one thing I said sort of going into the game and sort of maintained post-match, and I've kind of said today to some of you guys as well, some of the fringe lads might have felt maybe that was a missed opportunity for them.
That's where my disappointment from the game actually does stem, genuine disappointment.
Yeah.
Because you look at the likes of Harvey Elliott and you look at the likes of Jarell Quansah and all that, and I think for them, I don't think they were given a good foundation at all to be able to go out there and prove themselves and put themselves into slots plans, because they were playing with lads who clearly didn't give a shit. Yeah. But they should have played better themselves, and they didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then that goes back to those mismatched teams, isn't it? Of like, who have you got in there and what are the motivations? Virgil clearly just wanted to score just so he could give everyone a little happy moment, but it wasn't like there was no kitchen sink moment and all that, which told you a lot. I want to swing back to that because I think that's where all the interesting talking points come from, not necessarily in the events of the game themselves, or maybe some link into individual players' performances. But I was just, while we were having the conversation around this, like how, because the standards thing, we were together yesterday and you were mentioning like that got mentioned about how people are judging that game and how great managers of the past wouldn't let standards fall. I've just picked out a couple of seasons that are basically, when I think of Liverpool as having great teams, 83, 84, which is the treble season, and 87, 88, and 83, 84, we didn't win the league until we beat Coventry 5-0 3 games from the end of the season. We'd drawn the 2 leading up to that, and then we needed 2 points from our final games to secure the title, and we drew the final 2 games of the season to see it over the line. Now, you could make a case that the European Cup was still in the mix and all that kind of stuff. 87, 88, another we clinched it with a 0-0 draw against Norwich on the 20th of April, and then of the final 5 games, we won 2 and drew 3 of those final ones, and again because. We had 3 1-all draws in the final run-ins of that, and I mean we do treat things differently these days, don't we? I think because everything's seen as being all or nothing, and people hinge a lot of their happiness around it, and I'm not against that. I'm well more miserable I'm always miserable, more miserable in my life when Liverpool haven't won, apart from this week. I genuinely have no sense of that whatsoever, which is only my personal barometer. But I've seen us lose games at the end of seasons when there's nothing left to play for. But I've never seen us do it when we're champions. I've seen it done when top four's boxed or top four can't be boxed. So you're just playing absolute nothing games of football and all you're going is, can I see some young players and hopefully they'll give me something to cling on to for next season. Whereas, no word of a lie. I'm not that good an actor to say that. I honestly did not make me feel anything other than like a bit of mild amusement. Just seeing how much of a good time our fans were having on that one more than anything. The game, or the key, obviously 6 changes, Chris. I was surprised he did it. I genuinely thought he was going to do his big spiel about that was a chance to give some of the lads a game, and then it would just be, Alisson, Robertson, Van Dijk, Konate, Trent, Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gakpo, Diaz, Salah, and he went 6 changes. Like, oh wow, okay, cool. Yeah, he actually meant it. Do you think we'd have had a better chance of winning the game if we'd not done 6 changes?
No.
Okay.
I don't think it would have mattered who he picked this time around, to be honest with you. It was nice to see that he could be asked having a shave for the game, though. We were wondering whether that was going to be a thing or not heading into it. I mean, look, I didn't know that he'd even said it because I'd switched off already to it all. So, and I think a lot of people were in the same boat as me there. But I was probably, because I'd not heard him say it, I did think 6 was quite a few. But who was asked? Like, really?
Too few?
Well, yeah, maybe.
No, wait. 2 times. Anyway, carry on.
So I think, for me, it was maybe making sure that a couple of lads like Gravenberch get some rest, isn't it? So, and, I think he needs to know what he's going to get out of those players moving forwards. I mean, it was massively interesting for me, Harvey Elliott in there, and, even in a game that you don't think matters, you're looking at that going, kind of see why Harvey Elliott's not been playing that position, and I can see why Dom Szoboszlai has been playing that position, because we just look a much more solid outfit for just having him in there.
I think let's focus on Elliott, Dan, because I felt a bit sorry for him, and for I don't know, sorry is a weird way to describe it, but I do. I really like Harvey Elliott, I do, but I'm not sure, and maybe this is Chris is right in why he's not been playing, but putting him on the right-hand side of that midfield, or, hanging towards that right-hand side of midfield, with a guy who publicly came out on television, national television last week, and said him and the manager have agreed that he doesn't have to do any defensive work. Yeah. And the lad that was 24 hours away from revealing that he's not going to be a Liverpool player anymore was not maybe the best platform for Harvey Elliott's talents, given his, what he brings as a physical specimen to the game. I thought it was a very short sample range at the end of the game, but once Bradley came on, I thought he looked better because we were passing the ball to him with players around him.
Yeah, I agree with that latter point. Ultimately, though, the first, but that's the job. Yeah. That's the job that's been asked of Dom Szoboszlai all season long, and he's carried it out brilliantly and manfully and willingly as well. I think it's fair to say the question marks around Szoboszlai has been the output element and what can he do in possession. That's where we've really had our wonders about him. But yeah, as for Harvey, as Chris alludes to, that's why he hasn't been seen. I mean, that's the first Premier League start he's made all season long, and it was pretty evident to see why. I think the midfield generally was a bit imbalanced, didn't really tick. We got outclassed and outworked, and that ran a little bit in there, but Harvey didn't help. And I even think in the sort of the opening hour of the match, when it was obviously Trent and Salah on that side, clearly has a big shift to put in, but even when he got on the ball, it never really happened for him either. He was a bit sloppy in possession. The quality we know he does possess didn't really come to the fore either. So, and it was another example, you can include Plymouth and probably PSV away, where Harvey's played and given the chance and hasn't taken it so far.
The midfield thing was just weird in general, Chloe, because I'm not sure. I thought Endo was the best midfielder, and he was probably like one of. I mean, Cole Palmer technically played in midfield, I guess, but he was one of the best midfielders on the pitch. Thought he had a brilliant game, but it's almost like when you have pre-season and someone who you know is getting sold has a good pre-season game, and you're like, big Alan Partridge shrug, because pity, shame. If he played like that every week, I'd love to see more of Wataru Endo, but actually I was kind of disappointed. I thought Curtis Jones stunk the calf out in a two-man midfield. I thought he was better when he just, at the end of the game, when he played it on his own. But yeah, Endo was the one who looked like I've got my chance to showcase what I can do here and really grab the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think when we all looked at the team sheet outside the ground before going in, we all was in a little bit disbelief that he'd actually put Wataru Endo from the start, because we literally joked about him, you know, getting a guard of honour by Caicedo and Lavia. So like to see him have that moment was boss is song enough. But actually, like you said there, he was constantly free. He wanted the ball, and it wasn't just defensively where he was really good. He actually was beating his lads. He was beating Enzo Fernandez. There's one where he literally, I think he does a roulette around him and says, "See you later, lad, I'm off." He was our best midfielder, which, you know, when you've got the likes of Kurt, who's had a good season, and Harvey Elliott, who we've been screaming at wanting should get more game time, you know, you're not expecting to say that, but he was the most stable. He was always open, and actually he did very well in a more advanced position when we actually got on the ball higher up. So yeah, it was great to see him. You know, it'll be interesting to see what his role is, because it has developed this season. At the start, I thought Slaughter wanted them absolutely nowhere near this squad, and yet he learned to trust them more, and he got given more game time. And, you know, 1-0, 2-0 up, whatever it is, you see Endo come on with 25 minutes to go when he was only getting 3 minutes at the start of the season, or maybe not even coming on the pitch, and you're like, yeah, this is his role. Liverpool are winning this game of football, thank you so much. And yet, like, now we don't know what's going to happen, because we all assume, like, we're going to need another midfielder to help Ryan Gravenberch. But, you know, does that mean Wataru Endo has to go? So it feels like someone has to go. But I'm really glad that I got to see him start at Stamford Bridge. That was all we were. Yeah.
The guard of honour was tremendous, wasn't it? But I think for me, Chloe makes some really good points there. And the best one for me is this, like, what we saw last year out of him was he was coming in and doing a job as a defensive midfielder. What we saw this year was, as Chloe said, he's not getting many opportunities at the start of the season. He comes in towards the end of games and he's in to shut games down. There's no freedom there to play the game. Yeah. But you can tell he's been watching Ryan Gravenberch. He had the half turn that you love that Ryan Gravenberch does, and he was doing that time and time again. So he's come in and he's clever, and he's sat there and he's watched and go, all right, that's what the boss wants from a six. When I get my opportunity to start in this Liverpool side, I'm going to play it more like Ryan Gravenberch does than like he had done the previous year, which was essentially copy what Fabinho had done the year before or whatever, wasn't it? So you can see he's definitely... He's one of those players that keeps surprising me, even though I shouldn't be surprised, because every time I see him, he surprises me with how good he is on the football. Yeah. But he keeps doing better every time you give him the opportunity, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's funny because there's a few players in there, like Darwin Núñez is a contrasting example of another one who we think will leave at the end of the season, who doesn't matter what he does at this point, he's probably on the outs doing all the annoying, frustrating things that make you quite happy with that. So, and that's why Endo's just on the opposite end of it. He makes you go, oh. But it does make me think, because just interestingly, because I've just got his numbers up from this season. So in terms of the minutes that he's played in the Premier League, this is Endo. Second game of the season, Brentford, 1 minute. Seventh game of the season, Crystal Palace, 1 minute. Ninth against Arsenal, 1 minute. Got 13 minutes against Brighton in the 10th game, 3 against Villa in the 11th, 1 against Southampton in the first. Doesn't feature other than on the bench for the next 4. Then it's 3 minutes, then 33 minutes on the bench for 3 games, 22 minutes, 2 minutes on the bench, 19 minutes on the bench, 16, 30, 9, 1, bench, 5 minutes, bench, 14 minutes, and then boom, start. First start of the season, 69 minutes.
He's been building up to it.
Fresh legs and all that.
Always saying it.
But the Elliott thing and the Endo thing in particular are interesting, because Elliott Dan came out this week and was asked about it and was saying, look, he just wants to play for Liverpool. He thinks Liverpool's the club where he's best to be at.
Someone wants to play for Liverpool.
No, it's going there.
No, we'll get there. It's simmering away. But also makes reference to like what he might need to do for his career as well. We've seen so many footballers like that at Liverpool over the years. The ones we've talked about on this show before, your Danny Murphys and your David Thompsons. Harvey Elliott could be better than both of those, but he might only be as good as them if he stays. But it goes back to the nature of a squad, and I know you absolutely beat your brains out over Simic.
Oh,
Simicas,
and just wanting
to be a squad member.
Yeah.
Wataru Endo's not going to play. Not going to be a first 11 player for Liverpool. He's never going to play 5 games back to back unless we have a mad injury crisis. Elliott might be the same. And I think it's a sign of a good squad having players that good. Someone's got to be your 6th choice midfielder, and someone's going to have to be your 6th choice forward. Chiesa at the moment as well. But I don't quite know how to square that away, particularly with someone like Elliott.
No, I get that. I get that entirely. He's got time on his side, Harvey Elliott still, and also he's already racked up, upwards of 100 Liverpool appearances, so he's got decent experience under his belt. He's been there, done it already, so he's got that. But it's interesting already how it's been 1 season's worth of very much on the periphery of matters, and already he's having to come out and say those sort of things. He's saying all the right things, by the way, but he's so aware of the fact that he's going to have to go and play football at some point. Now, he will stay at Liverpool because he's a boyhood red. He will stay at Liverpool until it's no longer feasible for him to do so, and he just isn't going to be in the plans. He isn't in contention anymore, and then he will have to. It will be with such a heavy heart that he does leave the football club. I'm certain of it, but he will give it so much room to develop and see what happens. But yeah, from my point of view, again, because he's 21, still something silly like that, or 22 maybe, perhaps. He's got time to see how this develops and to see how it goes. With someone like Tsimikas, it's the opposite. He was been in his prime of his career, the whole time he's been at Liverpool. So I'll never be able to fathom how somebody like that can just be happy with their lot and just playing a squad role and not really featuring that. That's not in my nature. If that was me in my own life, I'd be thinking, well, now I need to go and play somewhere.
Yeah, it's different though with Tsimikas this season, because this season it is different because he has a genuine hand in Liverpool winning the Premier League, and he's the first Greek to ever do it and all that type of stuff. So for him, I'm like, you know what? He's kind of forced his way into the plans a little bit in his head. That's what he's probably thinking. I forced my way in. I've helped him win a Premier League. That's probably as good as his career was ever getting. So I can totally understand it from Costa's point of view. If he goes back into a backup role next season, 100% with you.
That's right. And he's been a backup role. When he arrived, I loved that because I was thinking, God, he's come and he wants to challenge Andy Robertson and he wants to push Andy Robertson. That's boss. That's such a great mentality to have. And I adored that. And then when it never really materialised, like 2-3 seasons, at that point I started going, well, hang on, you from a personal level, you should be looking at that going, this isn't going to happen for me. I need to go and play my football elsewhere. There was links to Napoli. Go and be first choice somewhere.
It's funny. Like it's just such a funny. It's a different mentality for some people. And I agree, and it just depends on where you think you can go with it. You know, and it maybe filters into the Trent conversation a little bit. But is Harvey Elliott going to play for a football club even on the same? Reasonably on the same bracket as Liverpool if he goes, because the thing that Elliott's got in particular, and Sunday kind of showed it, what I was saying before. He's so good and he will score goals and he will create goals, but when we were me and Josh did a bit of like how you replace Salah in the aggregate stuff a few weeks ago, and Elliott is one of the answers because his numbers are scalable in terms of his per 90s in terms of goals and assists are really good, but the problem is that you have to offset his weaknesses elsewhere, so you need to put more height in the team and more pace in the team, because if you take Szoboszlai out, you're losing half a foot and a yard of pace straight off the bat, and you're getting maybe you might get a third more goals and assists, but is that enough to counteract what you're doing? He could go to another team and his talent might flourish somewhere. I mean, like Shaqiri at the moment at Basel.
100% it will, Paul. It 100% will. He could go and play at a team that's at the same level as Liverpool. I really, truly believe that. But he needs a manager who is going to put his trust in him like Arteta did with Odegaard, for example. Slot's not that guy, unfortunately, at the moment. Jurgen Klopp didn't give a shit. Jurgen Klopp was just like, I want to score more goals than them. And so for him, he was like, I don't mind putting Harvey Elliott in there because we're playing attacking football. We're going to drive forwards. We're going to score more goals. But Slot's come in and gone, no, we're just going to keep it a little bit safer. And because of that, I'm going to be a little bit more conservative and he's going to not have as many opportunities. And that's where we are. But from Liverpool's point of view, I would very much be looking at it and going, I will take advantage of him being a Liverpool fan for as long as I possibly can.
Well, that's the thing I was going to say, because to Harvey, because of his connections to the football club, like 20 sub-appearances for Liverpool is probably worth more than going starting 30 games elsewhere, I would say. It's just that has a shelf life is all I'd say. I think for now, that's fine. He's probably looked at this season and gone, all right, I'm going to stay in fight for my place. But I think one more season like this, come next summer, it's a different conversation.
You need you need to fill a squad out. And I know we've not really used it this time around, but it will be interesting to see. It stands to reason Slot will do a very similar sort of thing next year, and he might have to do, because Pep Guardiola does that. He just replaces the guys on the fringe. He'll bring in a couple of, and they might be first 11. It's like, fullbacks as an example. He goes burns through fullbacks, but his main guys, the truly world-class guys, you keep them, but you change the ones around them. It's not how we're used to doing it. But I said somebody needs to be those players in that squad. It's just whether Elliott does that fulfill him enough to do it?
The other thing,
Come on, I think for us, absolutely all of that. That's 100% the way to do it, and I would love it to be Harvey Elliott as part of that conversation. It's just whether the player wants that. And I think Endo falls into a similar category, obviously a different stage of his career, but he will even look at the game time he's had this season and gone, is that enough for me? If somebody comes knocking on the door, there was Marseille at the table at one point. If Marseille come to him and say, you come and be our main guy, play every single game, even he might turn around and go, do you know what? I've loved it. I've won the Premier League, medals on the table, but now's the time to have a bit of a twilight Indian summer somewhere.
Yeah, I think that the only other thing that I'd add to that is that we've got a lad who is probably our best midfielder, who also isn't very, fast, and who also isn't very tall, and that's Alexis McAllister.
Yeah.
And that is another little hurdle for Harvey Elliott when it comes to it.
I completely agree on that. It's just sort of wrong place, wrong time. And you're right. Klopp was able to, I think, get extra out of players because his whole mantra is, no, you're all brilliant. Look how brilliant you are. You walk out 10 foot tall. I don't think Slot does that. I think Slot does it in a roundabout way of goes like, do you think you're that good? Well, if you think you're that good, go and kind of show it. And, and maybe that's what we saw a first sort of inkling of that game at the weekend. And maybe we saw it in the Plymouth one as well. Do some lads go, well, is this really the platform befitting of I'm in the B team now, quite clearly. Is this what I am? Some people, I think a couple of people maybe took their opportunities better than others, but it's hard to tell. Again, Curtis Jones, did he put that performance in because he knows he's cool? He doesn't need to go out there and work his bollocks off. But then Conor Bradley comes on and looks the absolute business. And he probably actually doesn't really need to prove it, but maybe he does at the same time. That was why it was interesting. I do feel for Harvey, but we will move on. Is there anyone else that anyone particularly... Should we do Quansah?
We've got to.
And like Liverpool in general, Chris, I thought they were all right. Like, generally speaking, in the game, okay. But if you were being hypercritical, you can point to key moments and go, oh, that's not great, that's not the one. So it's weird to one hand say, I don't really care, but at the same instance, look at certainly the penalty, if nothing else, for Quansah, and go, good all round, but not quite there.
I can't get over this conversation that me and Josh have had over the course of the last few months and stuff, and it's not around Quansah, and before I get into this, I will say I think this is slightly unfair on him, but he has floated the concept of a bozo gene to me, right? Where bad things...
It's on his Substack this week.
I've seen it,
Yeah, well, we've been talking about it for months, and it's Dejan Lovren had it, basically. It's just bad things happen to people and stuff like that, and he does stupid things. That's someone with the bozo gene. And I can't get it out of my head that Quansah hasn't got that either, because he plays really, really well and I'm not in this game because I thought he was okay in this game, but for the most part he plays really, really well, and then something fucking stupid happens to him, and that is Dejan Lovren to a fucking T.
The only thing that in Quansah's defence on that is Dejan Lovren was that as a prime age international calibre centre half, where Quansah kind of has... I just don't know how to rate Quansah, because a year ago, Chloe, I had him above all of our other defenders, bar Van Dijk, in the pecking order. And I think he'd earned the right to be in there. I think we were calling him the perfect hybrid between Van Dijk and Matip in terms of what his skill set was on the pitch. He's got the physique, he's actually got the pace. He's so good on the ball, so composed. But he has had this unfortunate tendency this season to just be right at the source of disaster. And it's not his fault that Van Dijk kicks the ball at him. Let's be clear on that. But I think he's been involved in 3 own goals, I think, this season, by either him kicking it in or him being Endo did one too. Was it West Ham in the League Cup? Something similar to that as well. Where did you fall on Quansah?
It's a tough one because, like you said there, last season in the summer, You know, there was rumours that he'd go to Newcastle, you know, in kind of this swap thing, and us as a fan base turned around and went, absolutely not, that's our centre-half for the next 10 years, thank you very much, do not be doing something so stupid. However, you know, and look, he deservedly started Ipswich away, first game of the season. The problem is his confidence got
deservedly
shot.
got hooked.
Yes, his confidence got shot when he played really, really bad. And it's just felt like he fell out of favour in that moment with Slot. And I think it's destroyed him mentally in a way. Because every time I've saw him, like you said there, he might start a game well, but there's just something that goes wrong. Was it Spurs away in the League Cup where he has to come off because he's ill or something? But like that entire however many minutes he played, everyone in our away end was like, Jesus Christ, he's gonna put it in the back of his own net, he's gonna do something wrong. And it's tough on him because, like I've just said, take me back to last season, I thought he was an absolute Rolls Royce at a very young age, and was our future centre half. And look, he's still clearly got that quality. The quality is still there. You don't lose that. I think he just has had a really bad time where his confidence is being shot. Then it's really hard to believe in yourself. Canate has been boss this season. Liverpool have gone and won a league title, and we've had a really good defence in that time for a large majority of it. And when he's came in, he's just not took his chance. Like a lot of the fringe players, he's not took his chance, and actually things have gone against him in those games, and he's been the main source of it. What I will say is, for a lot of those games he has played, he's been in makeshift teams, so I don't think that fills you with a lot of confidence as well.
The problem with that is, I take the point, Chloe, but they are your opportunities.
No, they are, yeah.
You've got to take them, because that's what every player goes through in the career. It's not a fucking perfect thing, is it? Where, you know, it's in a lab, here you go, here's your perfect, go in
a wind tunnel.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, and I think about it now, he's 22 years old, so he's still a young player. But you look down the road at Huijsen and Bournemouth and you think, he's just turned 20, looks in a completely different class. Yeah. That's where we should be shopping.
This is what my big takeaway from this was, is that I like these footballers. And like Bajcetic is another example that will fall into this. Like stellar football when we got a look at him a couple of years ago now. If he can get back to being that and more, absolutely laughing. But sometimes other lads just come along, and if Liverpool mean business in the transfer market, then because of what I've seen of Slot, I've got a sneaking suspicion half of this is throwing them under the bus as well, to some extent. Of going, it's not to say you're not good enough to play Premier League football or international football, but we're here. Like, you've got to be absolutely fucking perfect.
You either get dragged along or you leave.
And the other problem that he's got is that he's going to struggle to prove himself. Because if he has moments like this every time he plays, you're not getting games. So how can you then prove yourself? And when Huijsen's literally at Bournemouth playing week in, week out and doing brilliantly every single game, it's hard for Quansah to even try and compare himself to that, because he can't compete, because he's not on the pitch. And you can't look. Everyone turns around and says we look at what happens in training, and that's how we decide who plays. But ultimately, if the manager doesn't trust you, and we've got Ibu Konate there, and if Joe Gomez came back and Joe Gomez was starting, he got injured at West Ham away in December, so like even he was being then picked above Quansah, when, you know, last year he was a bit all over the shop, and Quansah was definitely above him in the centre half position. So it's going to be tough for him in the sense of getting back to it, because if you're only given those handful of games, you do have to prove yourself.
But it's also dead hard to impress in those situations as well, in a position that requires things that you gain as you get older. And Dean Huijsen's a freak, you know, to be able to do that. But also, there's no telling that he doesn't jump up to Liverpool and absolutely, you know, collapse because of the pressure of doing it. It must be so difficult to know, you know, because I've said it before, Nat Phillips is such a capable centre-half. I find it wild that he doesn't play for a half-decent football... Well, he does play for a half-decent football team, but he doesn't play for them, you know. One thing on the Quansah thing, Chris rightly points out, he's 22, and I knew this, but I wanted to just reiterate it. Like, Van Dijk's playing for Groningen at 22, but at that age, he moves to Celtic. And, like that's not a massive level, you know, with the greatest of disrespect to the Scottish Premier League. There's still something there for Quansah, but he might be a that might be a low move, or it might be we might do what we did to Bobby Clark last summer and go, there'll be a taker here because they've got him up to a level. Don't worry about it. We'll catch you down the line if things are going to work out. So it could go one or the other. It could go one way or the other, really. And Gomez might actually be a telling factor on this. Yeah. But it does mean that he slips further down the pecking order. He's getting less minutes. He is less versatile. And then what play you're getting when he's called upon.
That's the thing. It all depends how much work there's already is to do in that squad, and I would suggest quite a lot. So it's whether they want to add more to that particular plate by selling Jarell Quansah. I'm not convinced Liverpool do, but you're right, there will definitely be suitors, there will definitely be interest. He's had a season to forget. Let's have it right. And part of that is due to lack of rhythm, lack of game time, lack of opportunities. But when they have come along, he simply hasn't taken them. He's been at the scene of too many crimes off the back of what was a brilliant campaign last year. Like, I think it shocked everyone just how good he was, including Jurgen Klopp. Let's have it right, because he had a decent year the year before Bristol Rovers at League One, all of a sudden emerged as this centre-half we could actually use. And yeah, it's a tricky one for him. I still really like him as a footballer, but again, I do wonder what the makeup of Liverpool centre-half department looks like. And you're right, Joe Gomez is probably the key to all of this. For me, if you give me a straight shootout between the two of them, I think Joe Gomez moves on. And that's not to say I don't like Joe Gomez, but let's be real. We've won too many injuries down the road now with Joe. So I think I'd hang my hat on Jarell Quansah for a little bit longer.
Yeah, but he'd be my fourth choice. I'd do the same, but he'd be my fourth choice. He'd bring somebody in who's...
To be the third. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think there's any shame in being a 22-year-old backup centre-half for Liverpool. And that's actually the level, that shows the levels, because I think he is really good. But that's what I'm talking about now. Is Slot going to do what we've seen? Or are Liverpool going to go really... Are we going to be more ruthless? Because that's what last summer was. There was lads who played well for us in the Europa League last year who maybe would have had more of a look in if Jürgen had stuck around, and they came in and went, just too many footballers. Sell some, loads. Like Ben Dokes had his own injury problems, but we might have kept him and not brought Kayser in, but it looks like Slot's gone. Nah, you're all right. Like we've seen Harry Kane links. There's no way I don't think Liverpool are going to buy Harry Kane, but I also had my first thing yesterday or Sunday, lying on the couch watching the game through one eye, thinking Slot might be the kind of guy who goes, can I have Kane for 2 seasons? Yeah, cool. Do I have to worry about what happens at the end of the 2 seasons? No, sound, fill your boots. Then I'll have Harry Kane because I'll go and win 2 Premier League titles and the Champions League with him for a couple of years, and fuck it, we'll worry about what happens down there, as opposed to what we've been doing at the Klopp method of you've got to wring the juice out of every single one. Every single player is a plate that needs to be kept perfectly spun at the right speed to get the most you possibly can out of them. But yeah, Quansah's played the same minutes basically as Conor Bradley this season, and that's cool because they're both, well, Bradley's about to turn 22, so they're in that same sort of class, as it were, as in graduation class. That's cool. You need to have them around your squad, but Bradley looks ready to go, I'm going to be your fucking main man here, whereas Quansah looks a bit like, can I be fourth choice as opposed to being...
And as you mentioned before as well, the centre-back thing, they don't tend to hit their prime until a little bit later than other players do.
Absolutely.
So,
wealth of experience, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And we've had ups and downs with Canate as well, and even in this season when he's had a really good season for us. Is it worth talking about Jota? I barely remember he even was on.
I think that's then therefore worth talking about.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, only because...
Chloe's face there.
Right.
No, but obviously the biggest Jota issue we've ever always had.
Sorry, I'm just ready to throw fists.
Right.
That's all.
Are you done with him?
No, she's ready for Trent.
No, I'm ready for Trent.
Okay, well, do that if you want. I've got major
you tell me about
Jota. Honestly. Major concerns. I don't get it right now.
Are you having a game of peekaboo with him? Because I can't find him fucking anywhere, mate, honestly.
Because again, injury's always been the biggest issue, but now all of a sudden his form is just non-existent.
And it could come back. I mean, God knows, we were ready to write him off 2 seasons ago when he hadn't scored in a calendar year.
It comes back to your point about what's required and what Slot wants in terms of the levels and the standards, and I'm not sure Diogo Jota's in that.
Yeah. It's that thing again. Comes back to me. Squad player. 100% squad player, and how good is your squad when if Diogo Jota can't get a kick for Liverpool when he's a 1 and 2 goal scorer, that means we've got something exceptional. But right now, he does nothing all game, and then we bring Darwin Núñez on, and look, he's probably offside for that header, but fuck me, that header, he's laughing and I'm laughing. But I'm laughing through gritted teeth. Even in my I'm chill about this. Look at me, just watching the game, not really giving a shit whether we win or lose. And I was a bit like, oh fuck you. Just yeah.
It feels like a bit of a law of diminishing returns with Jota for me, though, because everyone knows that he's an outstanding finisher. You know, it's an absolute given. But he's had as many opportunities as anybody else this season to get to grips with what Slot wants from a number 9, because it's easy for us to sit here on the outside looking in and go, not really sure what Arnold wants from a number 9. Does he want someone to drop in? Does he want blah, 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 blah? I tell you one thing he's telling them. He's telling the centre forwards what he fucking wants. And it can't be never get the ball, never get a shot off during a game. And if it is, fair play, because it's worked, it's sweet. But really, he's not having an impact at all.
No.
And that's not to say any of the other centre forwards are either, but I think he fancies Diaz more than Jota in the number 9, and that's a concern for me.
Diaz for me is becoming to Slot what Lallana was to Klopp, of that, like, he just trusts him, likes it, is bought in, fits the style, he's got all the energy required, probably upgradable. But when you look around at everyone, and like Jota's definitely got a bit of that, you know, but he's another one, the Elliott thing. He's he's a yard of pace short and a head of height too short as well to be like, well, it's cool because at least Darwin occupies people just by being.
Does he? I've not seen
that. Honestly, the ball boys get so much more.
He does, though. He does. You know, Darwin's just a pest, and he's a pest in loads of stupid ways. Like, but he is. We'll do more on obviously squad building and all that as we head towards the end of the season and into the summer, of course. But just one little thing that just caught my eye in terms of like the stats of the season. The players who've got less than 2,000 minutes all comps for Liverpool in descending order: Darwin Núñez, Kevin Kelleher, Diogo Jota, Kostas Tsimikas, Jarell Quansah, Connor Bradley, Joe Gomez, Wataru Endo, Harvey Elliott, Federico Chiesa, and then you get into the Talbot Morton and the kids.
That's the Harvey Elliott, man. I just think that someone's going to bid 40 to 50 million quid, and I just think Liverpool cash in on him.
Yeah, there's a price, isn't it?
But they're all every one of them players. You not want, with the exception of Conor Bradley, it's an injury related thing or growing pain type thing that he's dealing with, and of course, a Trent thing. Every other player on that list, you could say you could happily keep all of them. Mm. But you could easily go out and find someone else to take that place in the squad. They're all upgradable in one way or another. But yeah, more to come on that in the coming weeks. Of course, let's not rob ourselves.
That's why they've got less than 2,000 minutes as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And they face the challenge of that might be just the squad. You know, that might be it. You've had a look, you know how Slot works. Do you want to do that again? Do you think you're capable of, you know, what his expectations are? Do you think you can use that as a basis to build? If so, come on, fill your boots. We'll see you next season. See you in the pre-season, lads. You know, Japan's going to be amazing. But other than that, then yeah, go and have a look. Maybe go and have a look elsewhere. A couple of super chats before we take a break and then do the Trent stuff. Hawks, $25. Thank you so much. The comment as the game went on was like watching cracked out goldfish. One of the best days at Anfield was just a week earlier. I don't like losing matches, but the way folks lost their minds was bizarre. Yeah. And we say this in pre-seasons though, and I think there is a section of fan base who consume Liverpool games in the same way, no matter what the game is. Mm-hmm. And if it's a singular solo experience and your day's hinged on it, then it doesn't really matter whether it matters or not. It's the same physical process for you, so I get how people can feel that way about things, but not me, not this time. Dylan Fletcher on the Trent stuff says, handled this exit horribly, to be honest. That's how I remember him now. Scouser wants out early so he can play at the Club World Cup. Don't know if I want him at the parade, to be honest. Oof. Well,
fight talk.
Chloe's got some strong opinions on Trent, and we're going to come to them and ours too after this very short break. Our Champions range of merch is available right now on redmenmerch.com. Get yourselves kitted out for the biggest party of the season, because number 20 is here in Liverpool. Fill your boots on Champions merch over at redmenmerch.com. There's loads of new stuff that's dropped actually since I recorded that advert. Chris and Dan are wearing 2 of those magical pieces right now. Looking great in white. None of us have followed the Virgil van Dijk brief for this one, but there's loads of red stuff on there as well if you're so inclined to get yourself kitted out for the parade and, of course, for the Red Weekend when you come and see us party with the King. So, yeah, redmenmerch.com. Right, Trent confirmed his departure on Bank Holiday Monday, the day that we gave everyone off to finally enjoy a bank holiday in peace. So thanks for that. Anyway, I have some additional thoughts on that. Maybe I'll get to them, but I've largely given my take on this over and over and over again. It hasn't changed wildly. I will ask, who watched the video and who just read the statement? So Dan?
I haven't watched it, I've read the stuff.
Okay, yeah. Chloe?
I clicked off, and after 20 seconds he bored me.
Watched.
I watched it. I read the statement, did my reaction video, thinking it was just a transcription basically of the video, and then I watched the video and I went, shit. Not that it would have changed it wildly, but I did get more emotion from the video. But to Chloe's defence, I didn't get it in the first 20 seconds. It was like a fucking hostage video. One of my greatest bugbears with footballers is that people are terrified to say, cut, second take, give it a bit more personality and go again. Because they're fucking dreadful at it. Dreadful. Once he warmed into the video, I thought he was okay. And it was definitely, you could feel a bit of humanity to it, Chris. But what was has it changed any of your overriding feelings around Trent's departure, knowing that it's now a real thing?
I hope the club charged him for the use of their cameras and stuff, because I'm not sure why the club got involved in that. I'd have just left him to do that on his own business, to be honest with you. Hasn't really changed it. I'm quite surprised in some ways at the reaction to it all, because I think this is the 3rd time this season we've had the reaction to this news, and yet it seems to get more and more draining for people. Mine didn't really change too much. I don't like it at all. I still can't fathom how he thinks that moving to Real Madrid from Liverpool is a good move for him, because Liverpool's the biggest club in the world for me. I still can't fathom that side of things. Still can't fathom the fan in him thinking that this is a good thing to do. I can totally fathom him from a business point of view and a life point of view and everything else, thinking that this is the next step for his career. In this scenario, you one or the other for me. I don't think he gets to combine the fan with the this is what's right for me type of thing. So I'd have just left that all alone, to be honest with you. I don't think anyone gives a shit about the fact that he's been here since he was 6 years old. Like, lads, you were just going to school and playing footy in the evenings like we all fucking were. Do you know what I mean? You weren't, like, committed from then. The last 9 years, you've been committed. Like, that's what you should be talking about for me. And look, ultimately, I think he's just a normal lad from Liverpool whose dreams come true, and I don't like that either.
Yeah. Full stop. Like, it was done. You know what I mean? That's a little bit of it. Go on, Chloe. I know you're fuming.
No, I'm bored of it. Is what I am. That's where my anger comes from. Because, like,
being subjected to it.
Yeah, like, I've been through the same process about 3 times, and like. The thing is that he talks about how he didn't want to say it previously because he was focused on the team and things like that. But, like, we've won... My problem is we've won our 20th league title, and yet all I can think about is in that Palace game is that every camera is going to be aimed at you, not at the fans, not at the club, at the team, at the celebrations. It's going to be aimed at Trent last game at Liverpool, lifting the Premier League. I just don't want it to be about him, and I feel like some people might. I mean, the media most definitely will look to Trent, and that's really what's annoying me. It's the fact that, like, this is a historic, well, Palace will be another historic day for Liverpool, but this is a historic season, and it just takes the shine off it ever so slightly for me, because everyone, like, no one goes into the last several games. I've looked at it, and people have been speaking about Trent, Virg and Mo, and to be honest, I haven't gave a single damn about a contract before they were signed, because I'm more bothered about Liverpool getting over the line and winning the league title. We've done that, and it feels like, oh my God, we've done it. We've had 2 players sign the contracts as well. This is boss. And then he's came out and done this video, and it's like, right, lads, well, we play Arsenal at home in the penultimate home game of the season because you were not done this ages ago, so I could have dealt with it, and now I don't even have to look at you. Like, the cameras don't even have to go to you. Like, I'm just more worried that everyone, the media, not us, we'll all have a boss time. But I'm more bothered that, like, it just takes the shine off it, and that's what gets the attention, instead of Liverpool equaling 20 league titles with Man United, and having a boss time. And yeah, then the other things do come into it. Like, you're living every Scouser's dream here who supports Liverpool. The fact that Liverpool is just not good enough for you and isn't enough for you, like, that stings a little bit, because you're literally, like, and look, he has dedicated his entire life to Liverpool, absolutely. Like, the dedication that goes into being a footballer is a joke, but you also live a luxurious life. It's not like, you know, you're not earning millions upon millions upon millions to just kick a footy about, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's more disappointment with the fact that, like, of how it's happened, now that it's happened, when, you know, all I want to do is bounce and focus on lifting this title. And yeah, it just feels weird.
I think it's a good point that when players normally leave, they just go. Whereas he's now got this drawn out goodbye, and I think he said all the right words in the video. I think I'd said this earlier on in the season, like, you know, that all he really ever had to do was say, I've done everything I've ever wanted to. I've achieved everything I want to achieve in Liverpool. I just fancy trying something new. It'll be cool. But it was, so he's done that. It's just, I agree with Chloe a bit. It's a bit like, oh, mate, cool, just do it, just get off. But I guess he had to explain himself. It's whether you've got any empathy for his condition or not, I guess. And it had to come out at some point.
Yeah, I agree.
Or another. Would it have been better if he'd done it while we were still fighting for the title, and then all that focus is on him? And maybe if he has a bad game, it's like, oh, is his head, you know, because we kind of suspected it.
Just tell me after we've lifted a Premier League title, though, is what, like,
that's
what's
for you.
The difference now for me?
I get that. Some people wouldn't have wanted it either.
No, I get that.
I don't think he could have won. I'm not sticking up for him in any way, shape or form. I'm not quite sure how he wins in this. If he's going to leave the football club, there's your shit of your shit sandwich. You've got your crusty bread with Van Dijk and Salah, there's your shit. I don't quite know. It has to come out at some point, like you say. The club might have informed him in terms of timing. They might have been a part of when this got released. We just don't know. We're not privy to that information. So listen, it's a disappointment, like you said there. I think Jamie Carragher said last night, didn't he? As well, he's not angry, just disappointed. That was my emotion throughout the day, really, yesterday, because you made the point that we've known about this. It's been on the cards for so long. It's been inevitable. But then when you actually see him say it, or you read the words, you go, fuck, that's a shame more than anything else, because he's been brilliant. Let's have it right. Like, we've had front row seats to a generational talent. He's been exceptional ever since he put on a Liverpool shirt. For that to come to an end in the manner that it has done, and as Chloe rightly says, for him to believe that Liverpool isn't the pinnacle, especially this Liverpool. We've had players leave Liverpool where we're nowhere near the force that we are right now.
Then. Like, I could deal with when Liverpool are crap and you've got an unbelievable player, and sorry, but there has been times players have left off at us and have fought.
Had Jarell have done that, by the way, that'd have been that 100%.
Yeah, like we've got no chance.
We weren't anywhere near as good as we are now.
But we are built to prosper right now. We've just been speaking before about how exciting the next thing is. People are already using the word dynasty with this Liverpool side right now and sort of defending the title and more. So for him to look at all that and have achieved all that literally this season and go, nah, this isn't for me anymore. And the comfort zone thing, I don't agree with it. The fresh challenge thing, there's nothing more challenging than playing for Liverpool. Nothing when it's your club, especially, and the responsibility that comes with that.
Look, when the fire in your belly's not there, it's not there. Now, it's interesting that he thinks it'll be there at Real Madrid, but it's not there for Liverpool. I mean, that strikes me of when you're 26. I used to work in pubs and used to see these fellas come in who had these amazing like lives and careers, but they'd done it all. And then it was like, well, I'm never going to get back. You know what I mean? Like they just ended up washed up and burned out because they'd achieved everything they wanted to achieve in their lives. And where do you go next and what do you do? Trent seems to have that, and he has that kind of personality, whereas he will just see that. All the things people say, oh, he's going to be on the bench and he's going to get sacked. Elite sports people don't think like that, do they? They think he'll just think he's going to go there, he's going to work his bollocks off and it'll all work for him, as it all has so far. But yeah, if he doesn't feel like, if he just looks at Liverpool and goes, I'm worried that I won't, the fire will extinguish, then it's probably best for Liverpool if he doesn't play for us, you know.
Well, that's the thing. Like, ultimately, I don't want anyone who doesn't want to play for Liverpool to be here. So it's best for us all that he does go. I think it's more a money thing than anything else. That's my problem. But like you said there, I think for me, Liverpool will carry on. Trent will carry on. Yeah. We'll both probably win trophies, and it'll all be fine. Things can all coexist, and that is what will happen. But it just leaves a bitter taste in your mouth when he is possibly, I mean, he's the best right back I've seen, had the luxury of seeing. I mean, one of the greatest technicians of a football I've ever seen. And the fact that he gets to go for free to a rival in a European, like, he will probably face us next season because we love to get Real Madrid in the Champions League.
Absolutely.
And that, like, stings a little bit. Like, the fact that you think Real Madrid is a bigger club than your own club is just, it's mad for me, and that's the part I can't get over. But ultimately, it's his career. He can do what he wants with it. He just won't, like, I'm not sat here wanting him to win things because I want Liverpool to win things.
The thing, just to devil's advocate, for the sake of argument, on the Ballon d'Or stuff, going back to 2000 and where the players have been at when they've won the Ballon d'Or. 2000, Figo, Real Madrid. 2001, Michael Owen, Liverpool. 2002, Ronaldo, Madrid. Nedved, Juventus. Shevchenko, Milan. Ronaldinho, Barcelona. Cannavaro, Real Madrid. Kaká, Milan. Cristiano Ronaldo, Man United. Messi. Ronaldo, obviously Barca and Real. Messi, Ronaldo. Modric at Real Madrid. Messi again. Messi at Paris Saint-Germain. Karim Benzema at Real Madrid. Messi and Rodri at Manchester City. So what's that, 3 English clubs in the last 25 years?
I mean, to be fair, you've just named 2 of the greatest footballers on the planet. Yes. I mean, the greatest footballer I've ever seen and will ever see.
And Ronaldo. Absolutely,
so, I mean,
that's why.
Good luck. I mean, Messi and Ronaldo dominated football. I've not seen a better footballer in my life than Messi, and never will. So, I mean, that's unfortunate that he was a Barcelona youngster.
But the point in all this, by the way, which is quite funny because you're right, Cristiano Ronaldo, every single one of those Ballon d'Ors was won with Karim Benzema in the same team. And Benzema doesn't get to win it until 2022 when Ronaldo's decided to wind his career down. That is the counterpoint with Trent, in it. Chris, is that he's going to be in a team with Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo and Mbappe.
Valverde.
And Jude Bellingham, who are all going to be there going, I've been told I can be Ballon d'Or winner at Real Madrid, and unfortunately, as the Highlander found out, there can be only one, and Trent might be the one of the many who falls.
I don't think he'll ever win the Ballon d'Or, to be honest, and I couldn't care less now. Genuinely, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care about Ballon d'Ors anyway. At the best of times, like, it'd be fantastic if Mo won it, and that would be brilliant. But if a Liverpool player wins it, it'll be absolutely amazing. It's very difficult just to get a Liverpool player to win it. We could have had Steven Gerrard win a Ballon d'Or in that time, and he never got there, unfortunately. Ultimately, I think Trent, from the video, going back to it, I think he believes what he's saying. I also think that he's lying to himself in that video. I just don't see that he can go over there and get a Ballon d'Or. I just don't see that Real Madrid are a better side than Liverpool at the moment anyway, when it comes back to it. The two sides, if the two sides right now, Liverpool are the better team. And Liverpool, I think, will probably be the better team next season as well. Now, Alonso comes in, might take a year or whatever to get them back up to where they want to be. I think he's got more chance of winning the European Cup next season at Liverpool. I think he's got more chance of winning another league title at Liverpool next season. I see the Barcelona, the cream of the crop in La Liga. I think he's gone at a terrible time. I think he went when Jurgen Klopp went. in his head. And I think he was hoping for Liverpool to finish fourth this season, so he'd have an easy, this is why, lads. Yeah. And now he's having to backtrack and think of new reasons why he wants to leave.
And this is the problem. When you start listing reasons, you leave yourself open to scrutiny of people scrutinising those reasons. And again, I thought the video was absolutely fine. I really did. And I thought, almost if people had just watched that more than read the thing, if people cared to do it, they might have felt a bit better about it. But it was, if you took the emotional soundtrack off it, it would have had less emotional impact. But you're right, overcomplicated it. And they did this, the management, they did this with Jordan Henderson as well, of like, when he then had to try and come out and explain his actions. You've done it, you've made the decision, accept that people might think you're a bellend for the decision that you've made. You're entitled to do whatever you want with your career. And he also, I suppose, he's entitled to throw one last hook back in to see if he can grab onto the Liverpool fans and maintain a degree of that love. And he will. Some people will give him a great send-off. In that Palace game, I'm convinced of it. He'll get his name sung and he'll probably get clapped off. I
disagree. I can't.
Chloe, you fucking sang. You was there cheering him the other day in the fucking Leicester game
because he scored a goal.
Because it's crowd mentality is what I'm saying. Is you might have.
He was also heavily booed in that game, and then people tried to sing his name and then got drowned out by other people saying "shut the f up." Yeah. Like there is. The problem you have here is that even then, people still had the slightest bit of hope.
Yeah.
So many, like you stood in that away and going, okay, so he scored the winning goal. Virgil's thrown him to our end. He didn't want to come over, and his name wasn't sung until Virgil pushed him in front of us. He didn't have that moment of Virgil's not there because we don't sing his name and he doesn't come over to us. Yeah. Like Virgil's put him in front of us, so everyone in that away end's going, okay, well.
Felt obliged,
The captain's asked us to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we've got to. Our captain's lobbed our vice captain towards us. And then you've got Gakpo coming out and saying, "Oh, but we hope Trent does." Yeah. So like, there's things that just keep you hooked there. But now there's a line in it. We know his decision this entire season. I mean, he did that.
I was going to say about that. Yeah, he's not helped.
And like, we didn't have a clue what he was trying to get at then. And you had some people, celebrating and other people going, "That's a bit strange." Now we know. So now people don't have to. I sat in the middle where I didn't sing his name at first, and I also didn't boo him. But like now, people have a definitive answer of whether he's going or not. They might be able to. They might feel like, okay, well, now I'm going to boo him.
That final game of the season, though, is going to be wild to see what people do.
It's going to be wild to see what people do on Sunday.
Yeah.
The parade as well.
Yeah. But that the only analogy I can think of, because I think it's hard because we won't know how we feel. How we feel on that last game of the season is going to matter because we're going to see that trophy be lifted. And that, for me, is all I want. Like, it was great the other week, and I loved the let-off. We confirmed as champions. We're not champions until I see us lift that fucking trophy. And it's great that all the commentators keep calling us champions. Cool. I want to see the trophy. And the only analogy I can think of was when I did my driving test for the second time, and my driving instructor was a fucking bellend, and I was ready. If I passed my test, I was going to tear a strip off him because he caused me so many issues and he advised me so poorly so many times throughout that I passed that in spite of him. And I walked out to the test centre with me, congratulations, certificate of driving. And I just gave him a big hug because I was so made up that I was like, I don't need to see this prick again. I'm done with him. I'm not a petty, malicious or vindictive person. Fine, whatever. Thanks very much, mate. Drop us off at home. And I just wonder whether there will be a bit of that. I would like to say it would be great if he persona non grata, everyone else gets their name sung, and everyone else gets. I don't like the idea for weeks of the guard of honouring him away to a European rival. That small mentality to me. But there will be, I'm sure there'll be people in that ground who are desperate to give him a warm send off. But
that's fine. They just might be heavily
outnumbered,
drowned out. The other thing about it is that, like, I've seen people who've not been as good at footballers get a lovely little written message when they're about to leave a football club. Divock Origi, for example, who is an absolute cult hero, but in terms of ability and things like that, has just got nothing on Trent's ability. And yet, like, he got a heartfelt little thing done by. It's clear to see that the club and him are not like, we've not aligned on anything. Sadio Mane left afterwards, and he got a little video and everything.
He got an interview at the club, didn't he? And he got an article on the website.
To explain himself.
Wasn't particularly.
It wasn't
loving.
Liverpool legend. Goodbye to a Liverpool.
Because he's handled this whole thing.
I agree.
terribly.
I agree.
From the very beginning to even the announcement video and stuff like that. You've waited so long. What's the reason? Why has this come out now? Why haven't you just waited at this point until the end of the season? Because it doesn't matter. Oh, wait, it does. Real Madrid want to approach Liverpool Football Club and ask if he can go there. So that's why it's come out early. So you are Real Madrid's whipping boy once again, and you're asking Liverpool to bend over for Real Madrid, and Liverpool should not be bending over for Real Madrid. Liverpool should be sticking a finger up at Real Madrid and go, you can have him when his contract runs out.
Well,
Thank you very much.
This is next. So this is the lead on point, is that Real Madrid are approaching Liverpool to see if they can have him in time for the Club World Cup. Chris has just made his feelings on that very clear. So, Dan,
yes,
if you're Liverpool, what would you do next?
What's the price, Dan?
Financially, it's neither here nor there, is it? Because realistically,
5 million, would you?
They're not even going to spend that.
I would do it anything, by the way, for what it's worth, just to get my feelings out there early doors, because I just want it done now. Just let him go.
Yeah.
Let him go. Let's be done with it. I don't care who wins the Club World Cup. I don't think anybody really cares who wins the Club World Cup. So yeah, let's just, the minute we possibly can, which is the 1st of June, when that window opens, see you later. Honestly, whether it be $1 million, the money you're going to save in it is negligible. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. On wages for a month.
It's got to be more than the 4 weeks' wages you're spending.
4 weeks' wages and a nominal fee of, I think Gillen Balla gave a report is £850,000 earlier on. Whatever, who's bothered really? In the grand scheme of things, football-wise, it means nothing, does it? So, but honestly, at this point now, as Chloe mentioned, we know he's going. Bye, let him go. Close the door.
It depends how bitter they're feeling about it all. Because I think it would be fucking hilarious to keep him. So that they can't go and play in the Club World Cup.
That's also true, actually. So that you just don't win that trophy, that would be stunning.
Well, no, he can still register for the second part of it, can't he?
Yeah, and so that doesn't really wash either. So.
Oh, so who's asked?
Exactly. I'm asked. I'd just say no. Here you go. Your contract runs till then. You wanted to run your contract out, not us. We wanted to renew it. Now you make your bed that you lay in it.
Chris Pajak, as a reminder to long-term or new viewers, is a man who doesn't lose eBay bids lightly.
Sounds like that.
So this is it. Like, what can you do? I'd be legging him everywhere. Absolutely run him into the ground.
Yeah, you're here for the bleed test as soon as the season ends. You and James Milner will come back for it. He'll be loving it.
If anyone wants to give him a hospital pass in the last game of the season, I mean, I'm okay with that.
Would you play him though? Between now and then, would you play him?
I don't know.
I'd play him only if it's in the best interest of Conor Bradley.
Yes, I agree.
I see.
That's true, yeah.
I mean, there's alternatives.
Leg Conor everywhere.
There's alternatives. That doesn't have to be Trent, does it? We've seen other people play right back. There's youngsters who can play right back. So Trent doesn't need to be involved. Full stop.
Depends if you want to, whether you want to win those final games. I mean, I meant to do this in part one, but there's a maximum of 91 points. To be reached.
That's a thing, apparently.
There's 3 games of football to. I know, but we don't know how he's going to approach that Arsenal game. I think it's at home. I think he'll put a stronger team out for that, and it will be interesting to see what he does with Trent. Hopefully, Bradley's at a position where he's fit. His match sharpness is there, but I totally agree with Chris. Like, if Bradley's the future, you don't need to play Bradley for the next 90 minutes or 95 or 100 minutes, but. If you want to win the football games, you got a better chance of winning them with Trent in, I would guess. Depends if he wants to prove. If he wants to, if he wants to live on positive terms, then he needs to score more goals and have those moments in front of the fans. So maybe he's still got.
By the way, if a hospital pass went his way, I'd expect him to go absolutely nowhere near it, which would be the correct thing for him to do. By the way, he should move out of the way of a ball that he doesn't think it. Like any 50-50s, he will not be there for.
They'll surely know that in training, won't they?
All of them.
Like with Trent, like because he's not gonna, just not do it on a match day. Because you've got much more chance of getting injured in training because you do loads more of that than you do play the actual footy.
Oh, by the way, I wouldn't even have him in training, mate.
Kids?
No, I'd have him in garden leave.
Would you?
I would have him in garden leave. Until his contract runs out.
Imagine you just barred him from the stadium for a little bit.
Just saying, that's what I would do.
Okay.
As a vindictive person. That is what I'm
It's a
hearing.
purely vindictive person.
It was interesting how we spoke at the time about how dismal that Man United performance was from him. And I remember sitting there saying there was something going on in his head, and it's since been reported there was a lot going on. They say it was a blur to him, that game.
Couldn't
He
even remember
couldn't
the
even
game,
remember the
he said.
game, yeah. Pretty forgettable, to be fair, from his point of view, wasn't it? But that was pretty evident at the time, I felt. Do you have any... So I obviously see a lot of the vitriol and the resentment on social media, and a little bit in the gym this morning. A lot of people, one of their first ports of call around the conversation was the fact that we're not getting a fee. And people using the Jack Grealish situation to compare it to, because obviously there was interest in Grealish.
McAllister.
He could have wound his contract down, does anybody think there's legs in that at all?
I think there is, from a fan perspective. I think we're absolutely fine to think that, because like it would be double standards of me, because I also fucking hate Michael Owen because he didn't dig in with Real Madrid and demand he moves to Liverpool. But I've got no idea how realistic that is. But that was my take, and I refuse to change it over 20 years. With a logical head on, I think it's part of how Real Madrid deal with footballers. They basically say, these are the terms by which you come and play for us. Mm-hmm. And if you follow this plan correctly, you will be a player for us. And if you deviate one step from that, then you won't be playing for us. So all the best.
Well, that's what everything has been done to benefit Real Madrid and not us, which I think that's why some people are more bitter about it. Like you said there.
Look at Kylian Mbappe. If he hadn't followed that pathway, I think we'd have more right to be like, what are you doing, not getting a fee? And I know Kylian Mbappe, that PSG wasn't his first club. So it's not like he had the same level of it, but that's the most valuable footballer on the planet. Screwed one of the richest football clubs on earth to get to Real Madrid. And if that prick can do it, then Trent can do it, it seems. But
what were you saying, Clem?
Don't quite remember.
Yeah, for me, I don't think there's legs in it, to be honest with you.
No.
I just don't think... I think people get angry about it, and I can understand them getting angry about it, but I think Paul's right. I think that's the way that you do it. You look at David Alaba, you look at Rudiger, you look at Mbappe, and now you can add Trent Alexander-Arnold. And was Bellingham in there?
No, they got a fee for
Bellingham.
Bellingham,
So there's 4 people over the last 4 years that they've done it to. So it's a path well trodden now. Liverpool, though, going back to the Club World Cup stuff, I think should dig their heels in, because I think Real Madrid have taken the piss out of Liverpool, and there'll be people in the upper echelons of Liverpool Football Club thinking that they've done that the way that they wanted it, and they've played Liverpool like a fiddle. And so I would not be letting them go to the Club World Cup. How I feel about the last game of the season, I don't know until it happens, and it's in the moment. If there's a big cheer and I just want to thank him, I might just do that. And if there isn't, and
if he comes to the Kop and goes, you know what I mean? I do.
Yeah, there's a human thing that I can't tell you how I'm going to feel until I'm in that moment, to be honest.
It scares me, that whole thing. The last thing, because to come back to Chloe's point from much earlier on, and I think Trent referenced this in his... He doesn't want this to be a dark cloud hanging over the end of the season. I'm sorry, mate. There's half a chance it might be.
Just put the video out in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
And
there's no need to put the video out yesterday.
It's, look, in some regards,
unless it was for Real Madrid.
No, but it's a shame for him. But it's not, because he's been able to play for Liverpool. But it's one of the things that comes with being at Liverpool is that we take it more personally. There is a deeper personal connection there. It's not just a pastime, and particularly being from the city, it does carry more weight. I think other fans of other football clubs move on, and there's always be recrimination there. There will be. Think about how many like Adam Lallana are getting booed going back to Southampton. Harvey Elliott gets booed going back to Fulham, and we've seen that happen to countless players. But it's like unlucky. You've been born in this city and born with the talent to be able to play for one of the biggest football clubs in the world and have a great career and all the riches that sort of come with it. The only problem is you're not allowed to leave.
When do you reckon he signed the contract with Madrid?
I don't think it's done. I think it's been agreed probably since, on principle, probably for a year.
Maybe more, to be honest.
So all that stuff about him, ever signed 5 contracts behind closed doors, all nonsense.
Yeah.
And
well, it was the Athletics report, is it Oliver Kay maybe? The reporting on it saying that there was nothing done, nothing agreed, and even when it was all being said that it just wasn't the case, and he wasn't privy to the bid coming in from them.
Yes, that's what blew it off
until it happened. And that's not me hearing it from Trent's camp. That's well respected, non-tabloid journalists claiming that it was only March when he finally came to he decided that was when he made his final decision. But whether you make your final decision or you've got a strong inkling towards it, it's like saying you're going to split up with your partner. The day you move into your brand new house is technically the day that it's done, but actually you've probably, when you're putting the deposit down on it 6 months earlier, might be when the decision was made. The
thing that you said there about the fact that we're just we are more passionate and things like that, but I also think it's also the stature of the club. We're not a small club. No, we are a giant in world football. We are, you mentioned the likes of Fulham and Harvey Elliott there. Sorry, but Fulham's not the pinnacle of football. Yeah. Liverpool is. Yeah. And people from, who support other clubs can turn around and say that's not the case, but we are globally one of the biggest football clubs, so we are seen as the pinnacle of football. That's the difference. Yeah, my point is more, I think players get to leave Man United, even homegrown players get to leave Man United and it not be Beckham. There would have been people pissed off with him, but that
was on Fergie, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, there's myriad different examples. Nothing's ever been quite like this, because even our ones and McManaman and say Owen, who Liverpool weren't really in competition at that point. But I just think, I think there's certain clubs where it's just accepted. I just don't mine. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like, I've said this before, there's no good way to leave Liverpool because you're either not good enough, so you're shit, and so you're not good enough to play for Liverpool, or you decide that you don't want to play for Liverpool, in which case we fucking hate you. So there's. You have to basically be not good enough to play for Liverpool to get a positive send-off from Liverpool is broadly the only way to do it. And he's a rare exception of someone who is not that. And he's having to burn the bridges to do it, which feels so unfathomable to me. Yeah. I mean, players left us and we absolutely hate them. And that's when we weren't really that good, you know what I mean? Where players could go to a bigger club and improve because they had chances to win titles and major honours. Liverpool,
not a bigger club, it's a better side.
A better side, yes. Yeah. But
are Real Madrid the only universal exception to that? As much as we're all Liverpool fans and we all say Liverpool are the biggest fan, we believe it. There's no one I would rather play for than Liverpool. But Real Madrid are just a fucking... they are in a class on their own in that weird way because there's something more, aren't they?
No, not for me. I'd just put Liverpool, Barcelona, Manchester United, Real Madrid all in the top tier together.
Yeah. Agree.
Seriously?
Yeah. They're the top.
That's not... weird. All the stuff but it's even counting all the extra bits that Real Madrid are, it's the Galacticos thing, and it is the lure of them. They are that, aren't they? They are seen as a universal destination. Barcelona wear it, but they never. Barcelona are like us. It comes and goes with Barcelona, and it comes and goes with other football clubs. It never seems to go anywhere with Real Madrid, and that's why. I would say that.
I understand that.
Yeah. Whether you believe it or not.
No, I'm not sure. But
spirit.
I do understand what you're saying.
You look at it from a cold nuts and bolts thing of it. I don't like it, but it's
no.
People don't play for Real Madrid and look to move to Liverpool or Man United or
there's nowhere else to go.
But the thing is,
occasionally Barcelona, but even then not. It's more the other way.
Why this hurts so much, and it sort of comes back to this, is that I can totally understand South Americans and everything having a side of Real Madrid or Barcelona, but if you're from Liverpool, your side is Liverpool.
Yeah.
That's the fucking difference, isn't it? Yeah. No one grows up in Liverpool wanting to play for Real Madrid or Barcelona. He want to play for Liverpool.
And that's what he told us the whole time.
And that's what he told us. And he wants to be a captain. And he blah, 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 blah. Steven Gerrard was here, blah, 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 blah.
Past tweets are doing him in big time here, aren't they?
And he spoke about his love for Barcelona as well in the past.
Yeah, he did.
Himself
he
any
said if he
there.
could move to any other team, it'd be Barcelona or something because they've got the same values and morals as Liverpool. So go to their direct rivals who have none of the morals.
None of the
morals in footy bullshit.
That's it. Just tell the fucking truth.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted from the beginning. Either shut up about it or tell us the fucking truth. If he'd have just come out and gone, do you know what, Real Madrid are fucking massive and I think they're bigger than Liverpool, I could disagree with that. And if he turns around and goes, I think I've got plans for my career that go long beyond my playing days and Real Madrid helped me get there, I could disagree, but I will not question the man and I will understand why he said that. But right now it all feels like a big fart.
He wants to stay sweet on both sides.
Yeah,
that's what he wants to do.
No, but is he entitled to try?
He's trying.
No.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
You can't have your cake and eat it. How dare you?
I
You're
did.
already earning loads of money. Yeah. Okay. Foot Static says not only to claim not too long ago and wanting to captain the club, but to move to such a classless club with their players chucking items against refs, etc. Market nonsense won't be adored like here. Yeah, no, and look, he's not.
To be fair, he won't even get to the blooming Ballon d'Or ceremony, will he? Because they'll all
shit the bed.
They boycotted it,
boycott.
The other thing is though is that like I get the Ballon d'Or thing, right? Yeah, but it might be impossible to be a right back and win the Ballon d'Or because if you're setting up, say he gets 16 assists in the league alone or whatever, that's sound. But the players on the end of that is Vinicius Junior, Mbappe, Rodrigo, who will score 25 plus, and Jude Bellingham. So, like, Jude Bellingham will probably have 16 assists alone on top of his goals. Mbappe and Vinicius are the one finishing off the assists. So, like, I get it. Trust me, because, look, you had to assist the likes of Mane and Salah, and Salah's being a freak of nature. But, like, sadly, being a right back is just not as attractive as being a striker.
Yeah.
And putting the ball in the back of the net.
I mean, Salah's going to probably have, 50 goals and assists this season? Probably
not winning it.
No, he's not.
I agree, yeah.
Mad.
A few comments on this. Just lastly, the parade. Now, I know we're saying we're not going to know how we feel on that last day, but just some of the random comments. People are more keen to chat shit in comments than in real life and take action. But would having him be on the parade distract from the good vibes of the parade?
No, I don't think so, because he can just sit on the bottom level of the bus. There's going to be space down there for him. This fucking entourage.
Yeah, because I'm seeing this different Pep. I don't think we really need more. Not to be perfectly honest, I don't think we've nailed it. But it only takes one dickhead clone.
Oh yeah.
To
ruin it.
Yeah, honestly to fucking ruin the parade because he's on there. It only takes someone to decide. I hate Trent and I'm gonna fucking chuck something at him.
Yeah.
Also, people will be drinking, So honestly, I'm actually concerned that is a thing. There's something probably that
it's gonna be Guardiola with a Copperberg in it, undercover with his hoodie on.
Parades are all positive, aren't they? I'm just they're all good vibes, all celebration, all party. But that element of
it's a problem.
Is a problem. But
like a problem that Liverpool need to think of more than anybody because, you don't want it. Most of all, it'll look bad on all of us as fans because, look, I don't agree with his decision. I'd never lob something at him that is a line. But, like, that will get picked up by the media, and that's the only thing. The newspapers the next day, the media outlets the next day, it's not going to be on what a fantastic day it was for the city of Liverpool. It'll be some idiot has decided to do this, and that's what we're taking away from it.
I might have shouted and called Harry Kewell a gobshite on the parade in 2005. Might have done that.
I mean, there was video footage, wasn't there?
Definitely. I absolutely shouted that and called Harry Kewell a gobshite because I was convinced that he just fucking bottled that final in a huge way, and I carried that in my drunken state through to the next day, and I am as fucking mild-mannered as they come. But that's what I mean. It's an interesting decision for I think I don't be interested when Liverpool take that decision away from him. I think the players will want him there. I think there's so much great, such a depth of positive feeling from the squads towards him.
They just don't have the same connection to Liverpool that we do, though.
No, but Van Dijk's handling of this is going to be fascinating to watch because he holds much of the cards, I think. If he really gets his arm around Trent, and I know it took him a long time to even comment on Instagram with people making a lot of a big deal of, he's since done it, I think I'm right in saying, because the last 24 hours has been just an absolute fest of who said what around the squad about Trent. But what Van Dijk does between now and the end of the season will dictate a lot of how we feel, I think, last day of the season and on that parade. Because if he really sort of makes him welcome, I guess, and makes him a part of everything, then a lot of the fan base might do similar. I get what you're saying. There'll still be that animosity and that anger towards him, of course there will. But that's fine. But that next level animosity, anger might not quite be there if Virgil handles it.
Yeah. Virgil stands next to him for the whole thing.
Exactly.
No one's no one's chucking the egg at Trent if Virgil's within striking distance.
I don't think people would. I think if anything was to happen negatively on the last game of the season, that probably informs his decision on what he does on the Monday anyway.
He'll want to be there. And
he should do. And there's nothing wrong with showing your appreciation for what someone's done to help you win a league title either, by the way. Yeah. And I'm one of the ones who feels terrible about Trent even. But I can separate it and go, this is about that fucking big shiny thing up there, and he was one of them lads who helped us win that big fucking shiny thing up there.
I agree entirely.
Starting tomorrow, I can go back to hating him again. Like, I can still not like him right now, but like, I'm here for the rest of the squad.
We're parading the trophy, not the team. Yeah. But also the team get the appreciation for delivering the trophy. It's just I think
there's millions of people and ale involved, so it's a conversation to be had. Absolutely, I do think the club will speak to me about it personally. I would suggest they might.
What do you think he gets on the last game of the season? By the way, because obviously we've had some send-offs where people have been given guard of honours and gifts. I don't think the club do any of that.
I don't think they should.
No, I don't think they should.
I think they will. I think it'll be behind the scenes this time around.
Yeah, they shouldn't do it.
I enjoy the fact that he won't get that moment.
Something or other.
There's no one else.
I should get more than anybody else, but because of the way it's ending, he won't.
I think that was a very Klopp-driven thing, to be honest. All that stuff, and I said this last season. We need to pack that shit in. It's great, and I love the outpouring of emotion of it. But like, we could probably do with getting back to you got paid really well. You got songs sung about. Yeah, you've had a great time doing it. Players move on. We need to stop like having these fucking funerals for these fucking players moving on with their careers. Like, I don't know. I appreciated it for what it was, and it felt very of its time. But I agree, Trent getting it that's my biggest fear of like the Everton clapping Moyes off to Man United. Like, well done. Go and enjoy playing for a club that you think is better than us. Fuck you. Like,
who could beat us next season in the Champions League?
Exactly. Yeah, he should be going, and we'll leave you out on the pitch. Come this way. And they just open a double doors and just kick him out the side of the stadium and shut it behind him with his plaque. There you go, mate. You're in the car park. Fill your boots. All the best.
How good do you think Trent will be against us, by the way? Because I do not think he's going to be a Raheem Sterling. I don't think he's going to be a Sterling at all.
As soon as he's there in a different colour shirt than red, am I booing that lad?
Oh God, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, I'm going to make a horrendous.
We'll sound like Goodison. Won't be that many boos going around.
No woos though.
Full body booing.
I used to love fucking Sterling.
It was great.
It was great.
We used to get out of that. Like, it's interesting because, what fullback do they want him to be for them? Is he going to be playing on the halfway line? And all of a sudden, who are we buying in the transfer market? I would love to see us buy some like super rapid kid who just loves running at people all day long.
We own him. Gamora will tear Trent apart. Liverpool release the footage from training of him doing it already, please. But it's time to get the tapes out.
I've just had a vision of Virgil letting Trent lift the Premier League trophy with him, and I've never hated something that would take the shine off it.
I've just been sick of my mouth. What have you done?
That's all.
Why? Why did you think
that? Because he turned around and was like, it's all on Virgil. We'll lead with Virgil.
There's a limit to what I was saying.
No, but I'm feeling
There's no way Virgil's giving that up.
There's no way he's giving that up. Virgil.
Slot more.
He did the Carabao Cup with Jürgen. I guess that's different, but still.
Different.
Don't do Virgil, please just lift that trophy on your own.
No way.
That's you, that Dan. That's gave me that feeling.
I'd rather him get fucking Jordan Henderson back and lift it with him. Jordan Henderson to come out in a full kit, a la John Terry, to come back and lift it in front of fans and share it with
I know you're desperately trying to wrap up here, but
no, I've got comments.
Oh, sorry, just quickly, vice captain, anyone? Who takes that?
Salah, probably.
Salah?
Love Robbo.
I'd love
I think it's Salah, isn't it?
I'm not gonna lie.
Mikel's in the leadership group, Salah vice captain for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Super chats. This is one of the questions that follows on, very similar sort of vein from the Invader 97. What do you think will happen to his mural?
Just paint him in a white kit, leave the quote there.
That's the worst solution to that problem anyone's ever come up with. Do you want to revisit that? Do you want a minute?
No, what do you think will happen?
Yeah. You think someone will paint it white and leave it like that?
Yeah, I'm just a normal lad from Liverpool whose dreams just come true, Trent's in a fucking Madrid shirt.
And then what happens?
Then Liverpool fans take it down after the Everton fans painted it white.
Yeah. Anyone?
I'd rather not see it every time I've got to go to a bus.
I fear for it, much in the same way I fear for the end of the season than him.
Now, it's not. It is graffitiable, but it is not permanently graffitiable because it's been treated against that since the Evertonians damaged it last year or the year before. So it'll be it will probably get graffitied, but it's an easy fix to ungraffiti it. The question is does it, because look, let's do example. It's obviously the Rap who put that up. Yeah. We put the Henderson one up. By the end of the season, neither of those players will play for us. And I did have a thought about the Henderson stuff, like, do you move on from that? But I was like, well, no, it was our first league title in 30 years. He was the league winning captain. How he left, yes. This is the problem with giving murals, I think, to current footballers, because you've no idea how their careers are going to end. And Henderson did some damage to his reputation and how he left the club. But in the fullness of time, the guy helped to end the 30-year wait and lift the trophy. So I think it's a moment in time thing. Yep. But this was always the thing that did my head in about Trent. Is like, I get it, like celebrate Scousers and all that kind of stuff, and I like the notion of it. But like,
there's so much.
It's not. It should be an inspirational thing for young Scousers to look to, but it's not a moment in time, really. I know it was after Madrid, so he's technically got that kit on, but no one really thinks about that, I don't think.
The thing as well is to consider in all of this is if that's your house and it is constantly getting graffitied on or vandalised, or what does the homeowner think of it anyway? Because he might be on the side of not happy with Trent, and all of a sudden he's got a mural on the side of his gaff.
Reminding him every time he comes home.
Literally,
fuck's sake.
But I think we often forget, because I actually know Martin the mural walls, that's quite close. I often forget that's somebody's house. You know what I mean? So you've got to live with that every time you leave and come home.
Well, I pumped into the guy Tom who owns the house that's got the Henderson mural on, and obviously he's got the Ian St John and Roger Hunt thing. He asked for that as well. Like he was their favourite. He built that extra bit of wall on his house so they could do that, put that on there. So he loves it. But yeah, it is interesting.
Consideration, like.
Yeah. Would you want that on? Would you want that on the side of your house? I know Chris wouldn't.
Exactly, yeah. If anyone's in Chris's or Chloe's camp for that matter, I'd be seriously considering my side of my house.
To be honest, like I do need to paint my house, like, and if someone wants to paint my house for free, then
a Trent mural on the
not
side.
A Trent mural.
Alexis McAllister mural on the side.
There you go. Alexis McAllister mural, not the falling down, shed down as well for me right there. Please clear up a bit of space, sound.
But it's going to be interesting that as well, by the way.
The thing is, though, is that for once it probably won't be Everton fans ruining our murals, because actually they're probably in love with Trent. They've probably never loved a Liverpool player more. They'll be loving it right now.
Some ha-has or something over it, won't they? I think ultimately, as fantastic as it is for everybody to talk about it, it's nobody's decision but the people who paid for that wall to be done.
Oh, yeah.
And the homeowner, genuinely.
And how they feel about it, and the homeowner,
yeah.
I agree.
Well, because I
don't like
think
talking about it really for that reason.
Yeah. No, it is. It's interesting. I wonder if he'd picked a better number if he'd not had it painted on a fucking wall this whole time as well.
What number do you reckon he's going to be at, Brian Woodruff?
It'll carry on.
Really?
Carry on,
I just don't think he's stick with that shit number by...
It's a brand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is what it's all about.
Yeah. I mean, you get to own that number, don't you? Because who the fuck wants
Apart from Joe Root, the cricketer.
Yeah, no one knew.
Yeah, no one knew that.
But Root 66.
Okay.
Anyway, okay.
Ah.
Yeah.
Didn't know it started at Liverpool and ended up
That's not how that's spelled. Just quickly, Nitash Prasad, will Robbo have a better legacy than Trent? Depends how he leaves.
Probably less tainted is the thing.
Listen, if he gets another league title, yeah.
Oh, then yeah.
You only has to
Or
win
another European
trophy
Cup.
to have more trophies than
Yeah, he does, yeah.
And someone whose name
Someone's
is in a
just
language
said
that...
La Liga numbers go to 25.
Oh, he's fucked.
Surely not.
No.
Real Madrid will lobby
That
for
does ring a bell.
That'll change.
Does it? Yeah.
That fact.
There's quite a
that
few people
does
in
ring a
here
bell.
saying
Yeah,
that.
now I've heard it, yeah.
Oh, he's fucked then, isn't he?
Yeah.
Could have had a good number this whole time at Liverpool.
I know. What? You 23?
Is it natural in England, local lad dreams of playing for Real Madrid? I
No.
don't know that feeling because I'm not British and I think Liverpool's such a big club.
Completely unnatural.
Strange, actually.
Kids get the kits, don't they?
But that's more common now than ever before. Like,
It's still not a
I
dream.
had
For
all
me,
kinds of
it
kids
is.
as a kid.
Same,
like,
but you don't. It's not. It was never a
It's-
dream of mine to play
It's
for.
more the player on the back because
Yeah.
the Mbappe Real Madrid kits, those kids probably
Bellingham.
have PSG Mbappe kits as well.
It's a
Yeah.
player thing, I
That's
suppose.
true.
Yeah, I agree actually with that. Yeah.
yeah.
We don't watch it every week, do you?
I
Yeah,
see
yeah.
Live it, you don't experience
Yeah.
it, so it's hard to dream of it. Really,
we all had. I fully the notion of having like a Spanish club and an Italian club and all that was definitely a thing when we were going up.
Oh yeah.
So like Real Madrid were the Spanish club that I liked. You know, if I had to pick a Spanish club, but that was a lot of it because if you're going to play Champ Manager or Pez, why wouldn't you want to play the team that had Zidane in it? If you weren't going to be Liverpool, a lot of it was. But you know, and you know, it was only hipsters who pick shit teams from other countries to be their teams, I guess. But don't think it's
Or
like
people who are good at the games, Paul.
I was always Fiorentina from Italy.
Really?
Batistuta thing.
Oh yeah, Batic.
Nice.
Oh.
Anyway.
Have you seen Sampdoria nearly going to go down to
Yeah.
like C
Serie
again?
C, yeah.
C.
Wow. Right, listen. In more uplifting news,
Which is a regional league in Italy, by the way.
It's C numbered then, isn't it? It's like C1,
Yeah,
C1.
yeah.
right. Listen.
Mad that.
Sounds like a ward.
Can I just remind everyone that Liverpool
Nice and uplifting.
Liverpool are champions of England, all as well with the football club. And there is a slight chance that Arsenal are about to come third in a 2-horse race.
Glorious.
Oh, come and join us over on the Bias Football Podcast over on redmenplus.com. Use the code CHAMPIONS. Get it free for an entire month. Come and fill your boots over there with us. Join us for podcasts and videos and documentaries and all that good stuff as well. And yes, lastly, of course, do go to theredweekender.com and get your Saturday tickets to come and see us and the King and the Zootons and all your meet and greets and all that goodness, because it is going to be a fucking epic and you will be desperately sad if you miss out on it. See us there.